Look, I don't normally weigh in on internal conservative drama, but this is just too important to ignore. The battle for Charlie Kirk's legacy has exploded into an all-out war. Candace Owens is claiming that powerful figures tried to control Kirk's message before his death, alleging secret meetings and pressure campaigns over his political positions. Now she's threatening to expose everything about who tried to influence him and why. But others are fighting back hard. Marina Medvin says that Kirk himself called Owens' beliefs demonic. Bill Ackman's defending his interactions with Kirk, and now Kirk's grieving widow is caught in the middle while former allies tear each other apart. Is this about truth or control? Who really understood what Kirk believed? This conservative movement is fracturing before our eyes, so keep on watching. Now, before I get to that, it's a word from our sponsor, because we recently covered a company called Western Star Resources here on the channel, a gold and silver exploration company we believed had serious potential for U.S. expansion. Well, it looks like that move is already in motion. Western Star just signed an MOU with American Corp to push forward their U.S. growth strategy, and here's why the timing is so important. With domestic demand for precious metals climbing year after year, and with the U.S. government making it clear they want more homegrown exploration instead of relying on foreign supply, companies like Western Star are in a prime position. Now, this is not just about mining. It's about national security, economic stability, and capturing a huge market opportunity. Western Star's expertise, combined with a supportive policy environment, means they're stepping into the U.S. market under the best possible conditions. Could a huge U.S. expansion be next? I wouldn't bet against it. Western Star Resources is making gold and silver great again. You can find out more by visiting westernstarresources.com. Now, over the last 48 hours, there's been a lot of controversy brewing surrounding Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk's legacy. When Candace Owens officially went live with her first remarks after his assassination, I was stunned. There were 250,000 people watching her feed, and then the feed literally crashed. I mean, she broke YouTube. They had to restart the stream. I'd never seen anything like it. I don't think I've ever seen that many people on a live stream before. Shadow of Ezra posting this. Candace Owens warns she's ready to go to war against anyone who thinks they can step in to replace Charlie Kirk. She promises to release every single text message and expose everything. Owens tells them to back off now, claiming she knows exactly who they are. Over my dead body, she says, which I'm sure can be arranged. And here is her remarks.
That you are going to replace Charlie Kirk, okay? Kings are born. You don't just get to depose and tell us that we're going to follow this individual, okay? I'm one of the Masons of Turning Point USA. You put a shill in Charlie Kirk's chair, in Charlie Kirk's company, and you try to tell us to follow that individual, I will be an enemy of you. There will be nothing that can stop me. Okay? And I want you guys to understand, this is not a threat. This is a promise. There will be nothing that can stop me. I will release every single text message. So to those of you who are trying that, I'm seeing the messages. I am telling you to back off right now. Like right now. Don't do it. Okay? Don't you think about it. I know exactly who you are. I know exactly who you were that were exerting pressure. Don't you pretend to be noble now and say nice things about Charlie Kirk and think you're going to slide into his chair. Okay? Over my dead body, which I'm sure can be arranged.
Oh my Lord.
Those of you who think that you are going to...
Now, there's been question, even in my own mind, about who could fill that chair. Who could have this same kind of debate that Charlie Kirk would have on those college campuses? I don't think there's really anybody. Now, of course, she's very concerned about who they could put in that chair. Turning Point's an organization. They can certainly appoint somebody to fill that role. She's concerned about a shill or just a mouthpiece or somebody who would be picked for a specific reason and not for the integrity that Charlie Kirk represented. and rightfully so. I think that you have to be very careful about the person who would fill those shoes. We're learning today that Erika Kirk has now been unanimously voted in as the new head of Turning Point, which seems perfectly normal. Now, as I personally have never seen her debate, I've never seen her on his show. I mean, the only time we would play Charlie Kirk clips here would be when there was something that was going viral. Charlie would say something that made sense, and we present it here. So I can't speak to what she's capable of doing, or if she would even want to take that chair. Bill Ackman has been accused by Candace Owens of staging an intervention with Charlie Kirk over his views on Israel. Now, this has been one point of contention. A lot of people have tried to make a connection that Israel was behind the attack on Charlie Kirk. Or that there's some grand conspiracy surrounding it. The only conspiracy is that it was the radical left, trans, furry, brainwashed youth who felt it was necessary to silence a voice because they couldn't debate him. That is the only conspiracy. And the conspiracy regarding the individuals who had foreknowledge in that circle. Okay? The people on the Discord chat who had foreknowledge, the different groups, like we brought out the other day, the armed queers of Salt Lake City, who promptly deleted all their social media. Did they have foreknowledge? Did they assist? These are all questions that have yet to have answers. But we know that group specifically is under FBI investigation, and the head of that group, as we revealed the other day, was a recipient of a State Department affiliated award and glorified by the United Nations. Now, that doesn't mean that those groups are specifically behind it. It just means that perhaps their rhetoric, their language helped to radicalize that individual to action. Now, everyone is saying that Candace Owens, like here, Maslet Tony Erickson says, since Miss Israel did it, Candace Owens has tried to put words in Charlie Kirk's mouth. This is what Charlie Kirk actually thought about Israel in his own words.
Direct. We've been on the move. We were in Israel a couple weeks ago for the embassy opening.
We went out with Huckabee about 4 or 5 years ago.
Is it not the most amazing place?
I never been, and we had like an hour with Netanyahu.
He's special.
Yes.
He's a special leader.
You know why it says?
Oh, and he's everything a leader should be, right? I mean, just confident and direct.
Barack wasn't.
We've been on the move. We were in Israel a couple weeks.
Now, Candace Owens had to come out 24 hours ago, and she says, it's crazy how I never once said that Israel murdered Charlie Kirk, but the Zionists are all repeating that without a shred of evidence. Remember, if they aren't lying, they aren't breathing. So she never once said, apparently, that Israel was behind it. People are stating that she did. Marina Medvin posting this, no, Charlie Kirk did not agree with Candace Owens and her anti-Semitism. He called her beliefs demonic. Now, there's been a lot of posts going around saying that Charlie Kirk said that Candace Owens was demonic. These are the actual words that were stated.
Thank you for coming, Charlie. And I had a quick question about anti-Semitism online. Another question here they asked about Candace Owens, and I'm a big fan of you. I was a big fan of her, but she's obviously been going down this anti-Semitic bent. And through her, I'm kind of finding out about these other characters online, like Nick, for instance. I'm sure you've heard of him. And these people, they've been active for a long time, and it seems like they've just been ignored, which is working, but now they're kind of surging in popularity. And as someone who I enjoy watching your debates, are they people you'd be willing to engage with and maybe shut them down in a way through a debate or something like that?
Well, I mean, I'm going to debate Candace. But no, look, I'll debate anybody that shows up at our campus events first and foremost. But I do want to take what you say and extrapolate that there is a corner of the internet of people that want to point and blame the Jews for all their problems. Everybody, this is demonic and it's from the pit of hell. And it should not be tolerated. Period. When it goes to the most structural problem.
So he says that it is demonic. The mindset is demonic. Now, on the PBD podcast, this guy, let's see, I'm not sure, who's this guy?
I think she's...
Okay, so here's what one of the guys on PBD podcast had to say.
Tweet, there's 10 million people, 10 million views who trust Candace. At what point are we going to say Candace gives opinions? Is the FBI? Is the CIA? Is anyone in the intelligence saying, we have credible evidence to find that Israel is at play here? Zero. This is Candace spouting on the internet. Right. And at one point are people going to be like, we just can't trust what she's saying. Last thing about Candace, and I look, every time I've hung out with Candace, I've enjoyed my time with Candace. I think she's cool. I think she's fun. I think she's gone down a deep, dark rabbit hole the last couple of years. That's my opinion. Her entire career, you can almost assess that it's Jews or very pro-Israel people that have put her on. And she slapped them all in the face. Dennis Prager, Dave Rubin, Charlie Kirk to an extent, Ben Shapiro and Daily Wire. They all gave her a platform. And then she just spits in all their face. And now none of them want anything to do with them. It's very reminiscent in a weird way of the U.S.-China relation. Who opened up the China's role in the world, in the World Trade Organization? Wasn't it Richard Nixon? Didn't Bill Clinton open up a trade organization with China? And now China is our biggest competitor? And they basically spew anti-American rhetoric and try to tear down American hegemony around the world? At some point, you would say this. We've said this in the podcast. Have a little respect for what America's done for you. But now China has no respect for America. They want to tear down America. That is very symbolic of what Candace is doing to Israel and the Jewish community.
Vinny.
She did a tweet.
Interesting perspective. Here's one from Candace Owens dropping a bomb. Now, a lot of people are arguing over these text messages, these Discord chat messages. I mean, really? Does the FBI do they really have to doctor text messages to prove a point? I don't know why they would have to do something like that. I mean, someone give me a motive. Spell it out for me. Maybe Candace will. I've heard a lot of people arguing online about this, saying the language just doesn't make sense. It's not how somebody would actually type. How do you know this trans furry is not going to have proper English when he types? I mean, there were certain points where he was using internet language with abbreviations that are quite common in chat messages. I mean, I'm not buying it. I mean, there's a lot of crazy-ass conspiracies floating around Charlie Kirk and his assassination. Give it a rest, man. Okay? I'm not buying there's a guy in the back touching his hat and another guy tapping his arm and a guy with something under his arm or a guy in front or a bird that they think is a drone. Spare me. I'm not buying what you're selling. Because sometimes the simplest answer is the answer. A radicalized leftist lunatic plotted and executed the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Because he wanted to impress his trans furry internet buddies. That's why. Now he's facing the death penalty. So here's Candace Owens. She says the DOJ doctored the Tyler Robinson messages, selectively edited, cherry-picked, and released without timestamps to frame a narrative. Listen, the narrative was already framed when we heard what was etched on those frickin' bullets. So I don't need to even read Discord messages. We played him here the other night. So let's hear Candace's take. This is a fresh take. I haven't seen this yet, so I don't even know what her take is. Maybe by the end of this, she'll have convinced me. But I doubt it.
I want timestamp. Yeah, these messages are clearly doctored, is what I would say. They're doctored. Now, they could decide why they're doing that. Tyler's being forthcoming. We're protecting him in some capacity. I find that to be unacceptable. Okay? Unacceptable. I want every single text message. I want timestamps. It is conspicuous that you are not telling us when this was sent, because it sounds like it's when the campus is on lockdown and he's got to go back and he's got to clean up. And then all of a sudden we're in the next day when his dad is getting clued in after the picture's been released. They're not telling us that. Okay. And you have a right to be a little bit uncomfortable about that, because I'm a lot of bit uncomfortable about that. We need full answers. Yeah, these messages are
so
clearly...
because there's no timestamps, you're going to freak out? I mean, I could read those text messages and I could extrapolate from my own mental perspective and my own time frame from covering the whole thing, from the moment the shot was fired to the moment the pictures were released, to the moment the gun was found, to the moment he was in custody. I can read these text messages and know exactly when they were sent, because I've been tracking this. So for me, I don't need timestamps. Sure, you want to get server stamps, you want to get IP codes, you want to get the actual Discord screenshots to make you happy. Fine. Okay, release them. And then what? They're going to say the same thing? Spare me. Spare me. Please. Adventures of X responding to Candace Owens. Candace Owens threatens to destroy Turning Point USA if it promotes anything that she disagrees with. Candace Owens, he says, is a mentally ill lunatic who Charlie Kirk actively distanced himself from because he thought she lost her grip on reality and her views were, in his words, demonic. Try not to roll your eyes when you watch this.
Investigate anything. It is shocking to me how when I'm not even trying to look into Israel, they pop up in everything. I think this is the reason why we don't get to open the Epstein files, we don't get to open the JFK files. Parking aside America, other countries too. You investigate anything. I mean, I'm investigating Brigitte Macron, and Israeli blackmail comes up in Morocco. Everything that's being introduced by Zionists, right, and into our society, gambling, a major vice, drugs, prostitution, sex pornography. We Jews love pornography because we hate Catholics and we hate Jesus, and allows us to crush the church. They want to make you guys think that this culture is okay, because then they can subjugate your culture. It was convenient for Israel, by the way, when the towers went down. It was just convenient for Israel that JFK got shot. They shot JFK in an open car, so...
Okay, so, I mean, I know where she's going with all this. And we can go ahead and... You want to have the Israel conversation? Sure. Mossad? Yeah, they're an intelligence agency. They have their own agenda, too. Dancing Israelis? At 9/11? Oh, yeah. They were there. Not going to deny it. I'm sure they probably had intelligence that that was going to happen. And that they were waiting to find out with their cameras to record it. But to say that they were behind Charlie Kirk because he was starting to allow open debate about Israel's role in the world. Oh, yeah, I saw the Turning Point USA discussions. I saw Tucker Carlson. Yeah, I saw that. Do we have Charlie Kirk's pastor? I think we do. Todd, if you could grab that. I thought we had it in here. Let's see here. Let's see here. Here is Lance Wall now says, it grieves me to see voices like Candace Owens drifting into dangerous conspiracies and claiming Israel is somehow tied to Kirk's death. That's not discernment, that is deception.
Any Christian or movement leader in MAGA who is a believer that believes that Israel is your enemy and that the Jewish people are somehow your enemy opens you up to a spirit of deception, especially that. There's something particularly pernicious and toxic. And what I've noticed is the voices that I most have enjoyed and rely on, when they start going off on Israel, and they bring it into Charlie Kirk's situation. So you've got some leaders that are trying to connect Bibi Netanyahu to the assassination. You understand how crazy that is? Crazy to you, but not to them, because they've already let their brain be open to that demon, that the Jews are the conspiracy behind everything. You say I'm crazy. I'm not. In various ways, if you've opened yourself up to that, like Candace Owens, for instance, then what comes out of you later on is a deceiving spirit that she's in agreement with, and it leads to conspiracy theories of different iterations. Any Christian or movement leader in MAGA.
Okay, so we've got some stuff that just came in here. Candace Owens posting this just 60 minutes ago. Her own words. She says, I knew Bibi was lying about a letter in May because Charlie would message me his concerns about Israel and send me his tweets he published to that effect. Like I said, we never for a single second stopped being friends, and pursuing this lie will only further embarrass the Zionists, she writes. And it looks like there is a post, a screenshot, Thursday, May 22nd at 11 a.m. She attaches to this tweet. And it looks like it is a screenshot of a text message between, I'm guessing, her and Charlie Kirk. At the top, you can see Charlie Kirk's image. It says Charlie Kirk knew. And that's likely because he changed his phone number. And it looks like, okay, so it looks like Charlie Kirk was sending her a tweet that he had sent. And the tweet says, Sarah Milgram and Yaron Lachinsky were two beautiful young people with their whole lives ahead of them. Their murder was senseless, evil, and horrifying, and the man who did it should be punished to the maximum extent possible. But I must push back against one thing all over. And she responds, great tweet. He responds with the pray hands. Speech censorship is coming to America. She writes back to him, and he says, it totally is. Now, I'm not sure if... Now, there's a link there to an X post. I would have to dig a little deeper to see if what is attached here is posted at May 22nd, 11 a.m. of this year. If the text of that matches the link, I'm not sure. But I believe that what we're seeing here is a reference to those two Jewish college students that were killed in Washington, D.C. That's about that time frame. Just in, David Brody. Charlie Kirk's pastor, Rob McCroy, says Charlie looked to biblical scripture in proclaiming his full-throttle support for Israel. He believed Jews had an ancestral right to the land. He believed the Jews are God's chosen people. He believed in the sovereignty of Israel.
There's discussion about his views on Israel. What I can tell you is that Charlie believed, and I was with him in Korea. That was the last trip we took. It was last week, and he was wanting me to go to Israel to start a work there. That was his request of me, and I know that he believed the Jews had an ancestral right to the land. He believed that Jews are God's chosen people. He believed in the sovereignty of Israel. He also believed Ezekiel 37 that there was to be a political nation first and a spiritual nation second. And so he would be accused of being an anti-Semite because he would separate that you can question the political government of Israel, but you stand with the realization that the Jews are God's chosen people. They have an ancestral right to the land. But you can also, like we do with our own government, call them out when they're wrong. And I was on a text stream with him and Orthodox rabbis and Orthodox believers, and he would lay this out. He would lay it out, and he would glean from that, and then he'd be on the other side where he's trying to understand, Tucker's position and everyone else's, because he was trying to build a bridge for young people 18 to 30 that were non-traditional conservative voters.
Right.
These are kids that were sick and tired of watching their peers die in the 1040 window in the Middle East in wars put forward by the industrial war complex, and to see them dying in villages and hamlets of the names they couldn't pronounce, and then abandon them and come back and they're still the walking wounded because they've got PTSD.
Okay, so he's separating the difference between the government and the Jewish people themselves. Now, this is that same pastor. This has been circulating. You may have seen it. It's been sent to me several times. This is Charlie Kirk's pastor, Rob McCoy, who you just saw. He says, help me get this out. Charlie Kirk was my friend, and I was his pastor. I want to simply say this regarding Candace Owens. Charlie Kirk was a friend to Candace and never publicly spoke poorly of her, though he disagreed with her. He never operated nor entertained gossip or innuendo concerning Candace. My only comment I offer regarding Candace is this. I only wish, at this tragic time of mourning, she would be a friend to Charlie that he was to her. He would never have treated Candace or her family in such a way had, God forbid, this tragedy been hers. A friend loves at all times. Proverbs 17:7. I think what Candace is doing here is she is trying to defend his legacy. I think she's trying to be a friend where she sees vultures circling to pick up the legacy. I understand that. But going into the conspiracy realm, insinuating that Kirk was killed by Israel, even though she says right here, right? She says it never once said Israel murdered Charlie Kirk. I mean, that seems to be the prevailing narrative at this point. But she says that the Zionists are repeating that without a shred of evidence. Rob McCoy, he says, this is not a time to get clicks. It's not a time to build your empire. It's a time to simply weep with those who weep, and it is a time to humble yourself and not make it about you. It is about the Lord. 24 hours ago, he posted this video.
Humble yourself. Rejoice with those who rejoice, and weep with those who weep. Be of the same mind toward one another. Do not set your mind on high things, but associate with the humble, and do not be wise in your own opinion. I think that's a fitting verse. I mean, we're hearing all kinds of speculation about Charlie and what he believed and didn't believe. And I just have to tell you, this is not the time for it. It's a time to minister to the family. They have a husband and a father to bury.
Exactly.
We have a friend to bury, a brother.
Exactly. This is not the time. This is not the time to speculate on Discord messages that don't have timestamps and don't sound phonetically correct to a 22-year-old trans furry on the internet. This is not a time to pretend that people making hand signs and hand gestures, and seeing a guy with his hand under his armpit who was Charlie Kirk's best friend make a claim like that he was the killer, or that Israel sent out a hit. How ridiculous is that? And I saw Mark Dice's take on this the other night, and I'm like, yeah, like he's totally right. Okay, if Mossad wanted to take out Charlie Kirk, what would they do? They wouldn't pick a deranged 22-year-old trans furry. They wouldn't do it. Okay? Go watch Mark's video. It's a great take. I don't agree with his take on the text message thing, but anyone who's going to make the insinuation is just like, why? You that's what you're doing. You're chasing clicks. It's disgraceful. Let the family mourn, for God's sake. Let all of us mourn. When I open up my X feed and I see constant conspiracy after conspiracy over Charlie Kirk's loss, over his death, I get sick to my stomach. Listen, I'm the biggest, like I've said before, I'm the biggest conspiracy theorist out there. I question every freaking narrative because we have to. But like this is a simple explanation. The left has been radicalizing the youth forever. Charlie Kirk was a massive threat to that because he would challenge their doctrines in their temples, the universities, the temples of brainwashing. He would walk into their temples and he would overturn the tables. They could not have that anymore. They demonized us. They dehumanized us. They called us Nazis. They called us fascists. They labeled us every single thing in the book. And that's all it took for one lunatic to snap. And that's how we got here. So whatever Candace is doing, like I think she's coming from a good place because she's trying to protect what she sees people circling his chair. But I don't think we need to concern ourselves. I really don't. Why now? Why now? It's been just over a week. Can we just let the dust settle? Can we have a funeral? Can we frickin' mourn before we start throwing jabs at everybody and pointing fingers, claiming conspiracies? Is this the time to do it? No. Let the facts come forward. That's why I never jump on anything ever. Whenever there's a mass shooting or something like that, I see everyone running to their YouTube channels and posting videos, popping their theories. I don't do that. I don't jump on that bandwagon. I let the dust settle. I take a step back. I look at the big picture and I try to understand what is happening. I listen to the narratives that are developing. Then I connect the dots. And then I come and sit here before this microphone and I present to you my investigation, my opinion, my perspective, and my feelings. I do not jump to the conclusions without facts that I can substantiate. So I'm not going to sit here and pick apart a Discord message, or I'm not going to say because Bibi Netanyahu posted something after Charlie passed that that's evidence. Mossad's behind it all. Charlie was getting too close to Israel, guys. That's why. He let Tucker Carlson talk at Turning Point. That's why. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to sit here and look, I don't even want to be doing this report. But it's like, it's gotten to the point where people are just, they're jumping to conclusions. The body hasn't even been buried yet. Erika Kirk is going to bed alone every night. Her kids think daddy's on a work trip with Jesus. They don't even understand what has happened yet. And every time I open up X, I see a disgusting meme. I see clip after clip of people mocking Charlie's passing, and I'm nauseated by it all. But this is what I do. This is the work I have. This is what I have to face every day. I have to digest it all. I have to bring it to you and try to make sense of it. And this whole Candace Owens thing is just adding a whole another level of drama that shouldn't even be there. Like, Candace, Candace, just shut up. Just shut up. Let us freaking grieve. Maybe this is the way you grieve. I don't know. You go in front of the camera, you go in front of your microphone, you go in front of your Apple laptop with your stickers on it because you don't want to promote Apple products, whatever it is, I don't know. And you feel like you have to be the one to defend the legacy. Well, how about you let his wife defend the legacy? I saw the clip that you posted, Candace. I saw what you wrote. I saw what you said. No one's going to shut you up. No one's going to shut you up but your husband or Erika Kirk. Why even bring his wife into this? Why even say that Erika Kirk has to shut you up? Why even put her through it? That in itself is a freaking disgrace. Maybe your husband needs to have a talk with you. I'm having a talk with you right now, Candace. You know, I've never even met you. You were in Indiana once, and I was trying to connect with you years and years ago. It never panned out. I remember when you were getting started on YouTube, I think your YouTube channel name was Red Pill Black. I remember my ad manager was telling me about your channel and how your channel got deleted off YouTube. And then you came back roaring. You hooked up with Charlie. I don't know the whole timeline of your career. I don't even watch your stuff. I don't. I've said this before. I don't watch Ben Shapiro. I don't watch Jack Posobiec. I don't watch Steve Bannon. I don't watch Candace Owens. I don't watch Alex Jones. I don't watch anybody. I don't watch Ben Shapiro because my thoughts are my own. The only time I watch those folks is when I'm playing the clips when they have something substantive to say that I think is important enough for my audience to hear it. Just let the family frickin' grieve, Candace. You don't need to put the spotlight on you. You don't need to be the defender of the legacy. Just don't. Ian Carroll says Candace Owens helped Max Blumenthal push a false story that Charlie Kirk was turning against Israel and urged Tucker and Dave Smith to amplify it. Blumenthal's outlet is Iran-funded. The piece is debunked. Candace lies run deeper. Okay. Ian Carroll.
First about the Candace has really driven this whole news story because it was Candace's reporting at first about the Hamptons meeting that I think empowered Max Blumenthal. I'm sure like Max Blumenthal had that article that was published by the Gray Zone. He had that before Candace's episode, but she gave space for him to publish that article into a into a tailwind, into the wave. And then he publishes that article, and then she has more to bring. And then she calls on Dave and Tucker to be like, say what you know. You guys know stuff. You were around him. You have text messages. Share what you know. And so then last night I was like, fuck, what are they going to do? And Dave comes out, and like Dave and I kind of went back and forth about it, because Dave was like, Ian, what the fuck are you doing, bro? You're dumb. It's Israel. What? And I was like, okay, Dave, I know. Like, I get it, bro. Like, you're older and wiser than me. And, you know.
Okay, so I think I've said my piece here. They were friends. They were. Is she defending the legacy? This is what she said. This is what I thought was just sick.
And no one, and I mean absolutely no one, outside of my husband and Erika Kirk, has the power to shut me up right now. That's it. No.
Yeah, why? Why? Why would you put his wife through it? No one has the power to shut me up but my husband or Erika Kirk. I'll leave it right there. I will leave it right there. If you have value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So the situation needs to be addressed. While Erika Kirk is grieving her husband and caring for her children, a public battle has erupted over Charlie's legacy. Candace Owens claims powerful figures try to control Kirk's message through pressure campaigns. We saw Charlie's own view about Candace's feelings on Israel, calling them demonic. Bill Ackman is defending Israel. Each side presents their versions of Kirk's true beliefs, creating a spectacle during what should be a time of mourning. Whatever the truth about these competing claims, the timing just could not be worse. A family has suffered an unimaginable loss, and they deserve space to grieve without their loved one's name being dragged through public disputes. These conversations about Kirk's legacy and beliefs can wait until the family has had time to process their loss. So here's a question. We can have this out in the comments. Should public figures wait to discuss a deceased person's legacy till after the family has had an appropriate time to grieve? Yes or no? Share your thoughts in the comments below.